We got a story that is really disgraceful on the bank and the police. Bank calls cop on black retired teacher after losing her deposit. Yeah, a bank calls the police on retired 70-year-old black retired teacher. Let's get to it.
Old school teacher ends up arrested and naked because she simply wanted the money deposited into her account. Let's put the picture up full masses.
Let's do it right there.
Florida. Once again, 70-year-old retired school teacher Linda Stevens was a Mid-Florida Credit Union. She's a customer there, all right?
Yeah.
She's been there for the past 50 years.
50
She
years.
alleges that after confronting the bank about money missing from her account, she was accused of having a gun.
Wow.
Was arrested, left inside of a hot patrol car, and thrown in jail. That's what they did to her, according to the narrative. Stevens and her attorneys, like being Crump, allege she was met with such hostility and disdain because of her race. The February 3rd lawsuit filed on her behalf accuses Mid-Florida of blatant discrimination and flagrant indifference. On April 13th, 2021, Miss Stevens, the 70-year-old retired school teacher, deposited $600 in the ATM at the Bartow, Florida branch to pay her mortgage. Receipt in hand. Receipt in hand.
Yep, you heard it.
She
Receipt in
returned
hand.
home, but in the morning she noticed the funds were not there. So Stevens went back for assistance, like any of us would do.
Yes.
A credit union employee told the retiree that he did not see her deposit and said the ATM was being worked on due to mechanical issues. That's your issue right there.
Mechanical
the
issue.
ATM was being worked on due to mechanical issues by a technician.
On the ATM machine.
The teller told Stevens to return in several hours, fill out a dispute form to resolve the discrepancy with her deposit. Ms. Stevens did as she was instructed and returned, where she was told by another employee that the deposit has still not been posted. The employee accepted the dispute form and reassured her the funds would appear in her account within 2 to 3 hours. After waiting the rest of the day and the following morning, Stevens went back to the bank on April 14th after the funds did not show up in her account.
Oh.
When she arrived, the tellers told Miss Stevens, they were unable to help her or tell her the status of her $600 deposit. And she was shown to an office. In the office, Ms. Stevens explained to another employee what had transpired previously, the lawsuit alleges. Then the employee called the ATM technician who serviced the machine. The technician confirmed that he had found the missing $600. Ms. Stevens was distraught by then and vocally showed her concern.
And she has every right to be distraught or showing concern or be upset. That is your right. That is your God-given right. It is not a crime or against policy to be upset, to be distraught, or show concern. It is not.
The branch manager came into the office and demanded that Ms. Stevens calm down.
Wow, you hear that? Yeah. The branch manager came in and demanded that Ms. Stevens calm down. Like, excuse me? I'm not going to calm down. This is my money. My money, not yours. Mine.
As she pleaded with the employees for access to her funds. Instead, the branch manager gave her a 911 call.
And here's the problem as well. I have a problem with this. You know, it's like this day where you get people that call 911 over the stupidest, dumb shit. You know, and they make an exaggeration like somebody's got a gun, somebody's stalking kids, someone's a threat, or someone looks suspicious when doing nothing. And what happens when you call 911, ladies and gentlemen? When you call 911 and the cops show up, you are calling for a gun on the situation.
The police officer arrived and stood behind Ms. Stevens before another officer arrived with his hand on his firearm, stating somebody called 911 and claimed Ms. Stevens had a gun.
It's like, what the fuck? Somebody called, like I said, somebody called 911 and made a bogus report. That motherfucker who should call 911 made a bogus report saying she was a threat, she was armed, had a gun, you know, all kind of stuff like that. That person should be held. And that's a problem. I mean, come on. You think a 70-year-old woman is going to carry a fucking gun? Get out of here. Come on.
That's what the police said,
Yeah.
according to the report. Miss Stevens was afraid for her life by this time and told the police officers that she just wanted access to her ATM deposit. That is it. That is all.
Yep.
She also told them she did not
She
have a gun.
She did not have a gun.
The officer placed her in handcuffs, left her inside of the police vehicle in a 90-degree
heat for 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes. Once at the police station, Miss Stevens, 70-year-old retired school teacher,
Never been arrested
$600
before.
damn dollars, who had never been arrested for anything in her natural life, was dragged out of the police vehicle, thrown down on the ground, and placed in a holding cell. She was later handcuffed, dragged across the floor by four male officers, thrown face first into a police vehicle, and transported to the sheriff's department after they affixed the charges. Her nose was
broken in the process.
At the sheriff's department, Miss Stevens was stripped nude.
Stripped nude?
Before being transported to the jail. She spent 24 hours completely naked.
Completely naked.
On the cement floor of a jail cell before being released. She had been charged with disorderly conduct. A charge prosecutors completely dropped.
Should have never been charged in the first place.
According to Ms. Stevens' claim, on April 16, 2021, a mid-Florida regional manager contacted Ms. Stevens to apologize. She met Stevens at her home and apologized while noting the bank's mistake and the trauma suffered by Ms. Stevens. The manager also gave Ms. Stevens a voucher for a mortgage payment for $300, not $600.
Fuck that. They should have given $3,000, not through anxiety on the suffering that they with that poor woman do over a fucking bullshit 911 call saying she had a gun. Absolutely absurd. And that's the problem day and age. You get people calling 911 and say, oh, this person's such a threat, or this person's armed, got a gun like that. And it's crazy. I mean, there was a story on the Audit Channel, I think it was a couple months ago or so. A guy was dressed like a Pakistan Arabian guy. He just wanted to see if there was a hotel room like that. A U.S. citizen like that. And the stupid people at the hotel lodge call 911 and say this guy was a terroristic threat and practicing ISIS, which they got wrong. That's the problem with people like that. People fabricate shit way worse than what the situation is.
Stevens has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and is undergoing psychiatric therapy at the time. So, Ms. Stevens, I want to say this to you. I'm so sorry this happened to you. You got the right guy with you.
Yeah.
Ben Crump is a friend of mine. He's going to do you right.
Ben Crump is a legit,
Let this
solid.
be an example to that bank, to anyone
I've heard nothing but good things about Ben
the
Crump.
lives of historically marginalized people, because we got communities now. All right, Mr. Mayor, thoughts?
70 years old.
Yep.
Likely someone's grandparent.
Yeah.
She wanted her money.
Her money.
Her money. She was asking for her money that she had a receipt for and that they knew they were responsible for.
Yeah, they knew.
She did have a gun, Doc. It was her black skin. She was charged with disorderly conduct. Nothing was said about that she didn't have a gun. Who's investigating the idea that she had a gun? Where did that claim come from?
And why the hell was she charged with disorderly conduct? Because she raised her voice, showed that she was upset and concerned? No, that's not disorderly conduct. That's just showing your displeasure about fucked up, shitty service.
We hear this so often as a reason to be aggressive with black people, usually younger black men. But someone's grandmother had her nose broke for investigating her money. Her money, her mortgage. She's living on a fixed income, and she's a retired teacher. This story is by far the most disgusting thing we talked about today.
Yeah.
It is one of the disgusting stories. And it doesn't just happen to black women or elderly black women. It happens all the time. You get people that make up fabricated stories, call 911 in order to hopefully restore order and peace. And cops do that as well. They'll make up laws, say you're doing this and that in order to restore peace and maintain order. It's another case that happened. Fuck the cops say with that. Send them out here, my chop peace out.